All right, it is 5:30. We're going to start our presentation. So this meeting is for the Minneapolis Public School only event. Thanks for joining us tonight. My name is Vicki Cody. On the line tonight, I have Jeannie Badger and our head ref, Josh, who will be here to answer any questions that you may have along the way. All right, so your event is next weekend, January 21st. At Anishinaabe. Most of you, I believe, know where Anishinaabe is. And you know that it has a parking lot, but if you are coming later in the day or if you have parents coming, that lot gets full pretty fast. So there are neighborhood streets you can park on as well. We'll be entering through the main door. Just a reminder that this event is free and open to the public. And also this year, your spectators, you invite grandma, grandpa, mom and dad, cousins, uncles, children, siblings. They can all come and watch the robot matches and the judging sessions. And this year, facial coverings are optional. But we're real excited to have everyone back in person again. All right, there's some required forms we're going to ask you to fill out before. So the form beforehand is going to be our demographic survey. That survey is online. If you navigate to the High Tech Kids webpage, which is hightechkids.org, you go to First Lego League, then choose this tournament schedule button, and you will see an accordion. You open it up, it says Minneapolis St. Paul only events. If you click your Minneapolis event, this WUFU form, this link is there posted for your demographics. We would appreciate it if you fill those out ahead of time, certainly by Monday, because what we're going to do is we're going to stuff envelopes that have your medals and pins in them for the kids, and we would like to do that ahead of time before you come. And that's how many medals we're going to stuff in that envelope for your team is however many you fill out in your demographic survey. Also on this tournament schedule page, there is a PDF of the consent and release form, and we have posted both the English version and a Spanish version. You'll need one per participant. Have the parents sign that. That would be great. All right, so what you're going to bring to the event are those consent and release forms that I just talked about. So one per child. Don't forget to bring things like, well, your robot, don't forget your robot and the attachments, computer, any materials that your team has created for judging. Maybe they did a trifold board. Maybe they did a prototype for their project. Bring a power strip. You're going to have access to plug something in, but if you think you're going to need to plug more than one thing in at a time, I would bring a power strip. I would also, if you can, bring some extra Lego parts. Sometimes the kids get inspired and they add something onto their robot, or Legos are toys and things break. So it's always a good idea to have some extra Lego parts. All right, so when you arrive, so you will be arriving, teams are either going to be in wave 1 or wave 2. Wave 1 starts at 8 and goes until about noon. Wave 2 starts at 12:15 and goes till about 4:15. If you're in wave 2, please don't come early and think you can come and set up, because we're actually using the same pit tables. It's a really tight turnaround. So we're going to need some time to wipe those tables down, clean the space up, switch out the pit signs. So if you come, you're welcome to come early and watch. I just don't know if we'll be able to give you access to your pit. So the other thing at check-in, those consent and release forms. You will receive at check-in an envelope that has medals for each team member, pins, one for each team member, and then 2 extras for the coaches. And you're also going to get wristbands. So these wristbands will have your team number on them, and the different colors of the wristbands correspond to your judging group. So please put these on your kids so that when they go into judging or when they go up to run their robot, because most kids don't know their team number. So the referees, for instance, will say, "Are you team 1, 2, 3, 4?" And they might say, "Well, we're the Fuzzy Bunnies," but they don't know their team number. So this just is like, "Yep," and they'll look on their wristband and say, "Yes, we are team 1, 2, 3, 4." So we can just make sure that we're scoring the right teams. All right, the general event schedule. So like I said, wave 1 opens at 8. And the first thing in either wave 1 or wave 2, it's the same schedule, different times. The first thing you're going to do, you're going to do your practice rounds. And then their judging starts at 9 or 1:15. Then you're going to have robot matches that start at 9:40. And if you're in the afternoon, those robot matches start at about 1:55. And like I said, the waves are about 4 hours. So you should have a little bit of breathing time in between your judging sessions and robot rounds, and a little bit more time than we had last year when we had 3 waves, to either, tinker around with your robot or practice your project presentation or whatever it is that you like to do. So it's just a little bit more breathing room this year. We found that it's working really well this season. And then at 6:00 is the award ceremony. And that is on our Twitch TV channel. And it's just twitch.tv/high-tech-kids. We will start that broadcast at about 5:45 with the robot scores running. So if you were in the morning and you didn't see what all the scores were in the afternoon, you'll be able to see them right before we start our award ceremony. All right, so I think there are a fair amount of new coaches this year. And so I just wanted to define a couple of things. So what is the pit area? When I talk about the pit area, at this event, I believe most of the pit areas are going to be in gyms, or there's that big back hallway, or in a cafeteria. But what it is, it's going to be a table. It's a table. You can have a table stand on it that has a little sign that has your team name and number on it. And that's going to be where you put all your stuff. It's going to be like your home base, and the kids can leave their coats there and their props, for their presentation, all the stuff that you bring. So each pit will have access to power. I realize that this says 2 chairs, but I believe that most of the tables that we use, a lot of them in the cafeteria have the stools attached. I believe Minneapolis tries to put out at least 4 chairs, or they use those cafeteria tables that have the stools. But again, I would suggest you bring a power strip. Please don't move to another table or sit at vacant tables. At this event, teams aren't necessarily grouped by numerically like we are at regular events. We're going to group you by school. We haven't received the pit map yet, but we'll have a pit map and a listing by school at the front desk or the information desk right when you walk in, so we can get you to the right place. In each one of those pit areas, there will be practice tables. And so these tables are for your team just to test out their robot. Maybe they want to, try something new, or they just want to practice before they go into the main gym to run their robot for a real match. About the only thing that I can say about this is that just please try to practice your gracious professionalism. Limit your time to 5 minutes, maybe 10 at 5, especially if you see someone else waiting, because those are shared tables for all the teams, and we don't have a schedule. So it's just, if there's one open, you can use them, but just make sure you're sharing with everyone. All right, so when you're at the competition, if you have questions about the robot game, or maybe your team just ran the robot and you have a question about what had just happened, please see the head referee. At the Minneapolis tournament, we'll have 2 head referees. We'll have 6 pairs of competition tables. So one head referee will be kind of in charge of 3, and the other will be in charge of the other 3. So you'll see them. They'll be, bouncing back and forth and sort of floating between the tables. If you have a question about judging, please see, we'll have 2 head judges there, and they will be wandering around a little bit. When in doubt, find one of us. The high tech kid staff will all be wearing purple shirts and jackets. You can always probably find one of us in the library, in the media center. That's where our officials room is. So if you really have something you need to talk to us about or someone about, please find us there. Or typically there's someone up at the front desk. So the way that we are running 72 teams in a day is we use something called judging groups. So at this event, we are going to have 6 judging groups of approximately 12 teams each. So when you see the schedule, you are going to be in one of these groups: lakes, woods, prairies, marsh, river, or snow. And the thing to remember is you're only competing against teams in your group. So if there's 12 teams in your group, you're only competing against 11 other teams. You're not competing against the other 71 teams that are at this event. So we kind of break it down and just have smaller groups. And that is what also your wristbands will correspond to. Each color corresponds to one of these groups. And that's why it's really important when you go to judging, especially, you make sure you're going into the correct. For instance, you're going to project judging. If you're in the lakes group, make sure that you're going into the lakes group. Make sure the judges should be asking you. They should know which team is next, but just kind of make sure that the judges will also be wearing the wristbands. Make sure you're all the same color. So if you're lakes, I think the lakes ones are usually blue because of water. So you walk in, and if they have a red wristband and say, "Are you the lakes? Are you the lakes judge?" And he or she might say, "Oh, nope, that's next door." So just color coordination is how we keep everybody in the right place. All right. Well, we're talking about judging. So spectators are welcome to watch judging. I would ask you to silence your phones. And this includes the kids. I've seen kids do presentations and all of a sudden their phone is, ringing or vibrating or making a noise, and kids can't help themselves. They need to answer their phone. So have everyone silence their phones. And if you have spectators coming in, please remind them to stay the entire 15. It's just a 15-minute session, but they should be prepared to stay the entire time and not go in and out. When you go to judging, you're going to go to a check-in table and you're going to tell them who you are, and they're going to tell you which room to go to. And so we'll ask that you stand outside the room, and then the judges will invite you in. The judges have a little 5 minutes between each judging, and they're writing notes about the team they just saw. So when they're ready, they'll come out, they'll say, and they'll let you come in. Please remember that your team presentations are limited to 5 minutes, which includes setup. So we'll start here with robot design. So you want to bring your robot, your attachments, a way to show your programs. If you have a presentation board or whatever that you're setting up, or something that you're setting up, that 5 minutes is part of your presentation, or part of your setup. So for robot design, you can do a 5-minute presentation. You don't have to, but it's a good way to start off your conversation with the judges. Have the kids tell them like the cool things that they learned about either building their robot or how they programmed their robot, how they got from point A to point B. If you look at the rubrics for all of the judging, it's really about the iterations, and it's about the journey that either your robot took or your project took. The programming award will be determined in the robot design judging session. This is a Minnesota award that we give because we believe programming is important. All right, so when you go into your innovation project judging, sort of the same thing. Bring everything associated with that. If you did a prototype or a drawing of your solution, if the kids are doing a skit, props, costumes, whatever. And they will do their presentation first, again, followed by some Q&A based on that presentation. All right, robot performance. So the robot performance will be in the main gym. Just some notes. Only the kids are allowed up to the performance tables. So the kids will check in. The check-in person will tell them where to go stand. and they'll just wait their turn, and the referees will let them know when they can come to the table and start setting up. Just a reminder, the robots are autonomous, and with the Spike Prime, I know teams can practice by hitting start off of a iPad or a Chromebook or something, but you can't use those in competition. So you need to make sure that all of your programs are downloaded directly onto that hub. So you can't bring your iPad or your Chromebook or your computer to drive or start the robot. If you have issues with this, if you're not sure how to do this, please contact Jeannie. Jeannie can help you download that, and that's Jeannie at hightechkids.org. Also, teams must use the mission models provided by High Tech Kids, so you don't have to bring anything other than your robot and your attachments to this. The other thing to remember is that the kids are going to go over the scoring app. We have a scoring app with the referee. Once both the referee and the kids have sort of agreed on, they go down this app, and it's a yes, no, or a number of pieces or something like that. They'll go down and answer all the questions, and the referee will say, do you agree? And they'll say yes or no, and if they say no, they'll go back and fix something, but yes. And then the referee will enter the score, and it will almost instantaneously hit the big scoreboard. If the kids think that there was a mistake in scoring, please have them go talk to the head referee immediately, as soon as possible. Don't let 6 or 7 matches pass by and then come back and say, hey, I think there's a problem with our score. You're going to want to do that as soon as possible, because the referees, in all honesty, it's more fresh in their minds, so that if a mistake was made, and our refs are human, I mean, stuff happens. If a mistake was made, we can rectify that as soon as possible. So your first round is going to be a practice round. So it's going to look just like a regular round, except it won't count. And we have found we really like this practice round. The kids come up, they're super nervous. And maybe they have been, approaching something they have a strategy that's questionable, and this is a good place to find out if it's a good strategy or not a good strategy. And the refs will help them through that. So this round is in the main gym. It is scheduled. And this is also a really good time to ask the refs questions, whether they're doing something legally or not. Then your next 3 rounds are going to be your scored rounds. And we take the highest score of these rounds, not an average. So if you got a 0, a 30, and a 150, we take the 150. We throw the other 2 out. Okay, so I mentioned a little bit the Minnesota scoring app. I really encourage you to go out and download it and look at it. It's a different scoring app than what you might find. There's lots of scoring apps out there. We have our own. And it's on our website. So you go to the First Lego League section of our website, and then right here under Superpowered. So we have that app. You can play with it. The kids can practice with it. And I encourage you to do that. Also under this Superpowered section of our website are where the robot game updates will be. Now, we haven't had an update since, I believe, October. But if we had one between now and next week, we will go with and rule. However, if there's a new update posted by 4 o'clock on Friday, that's what we go with. Now, again, I said there hasn't been one since October, so I'm not super worried about it, but just know that it's there. And in that same section, when I was talking about rubrics, all of the judging rubrics are also listed under this webpage, if you wanted to take a look at that. All right, advancement and awards. Advancement. Just a reminder, I really like this new visual that First put out. It's just a reminder that each section is worth 25%. So what's interesting about First Lego League, all you see is how well your robot has done during the day. You have really no idea until the end, where you maybe stand in project core values or robot design. So just remember that it is possible to get the highest robot score and not advance because maybe you didn't do your project, or maybe something happened in one of those judging sessions. So typically teams that do well are balanced across all 4 of these categories. So just something to keep in mind. So the awards, so we will give a set of awards for each judging group. So we have 6 judging groups. The actual awards will be sent out via interschool mail, or Melinda delivers them. I'm not sure how that happens in Minneapolis, but we are leaving all the awards with Melinda, and she will make sure that you get them. The rubrics, though, will be coming to you via email. Jeannie will send those out usually she does it Monday, Tuesday. And like I said, that award ceremony will be at 6 o'clock on Saturday night on our Twitch channel. This Twitch channel is also linked on that Minneapolis only event page that I talked about earlier. All right, I'm going to let Jeannie jump in here. She's going to talk about what's going on with Lego Spike Prime.
Okay, so Lego has introduced an upgrade to their Spike app. So if you are using the Spike robots, this update kind of happens almost automatically. So you're given the option automatically when you log in. Please, please, please do not upgrade to the Spike 3 app. If you do it, your Spike 2, basically, programs that you've already written are not accessible. So the kids will have to rewrite all their code. If you update your hub, it is very, very challenging to kind of downgrade that hub. So I know that you guys get your apps through the school, and so I don't think this is going to be an issue. Please do not upgrade your app, and especially if you advance the state, please do not upgrade your app until after the state tournament. If you have any questions about it, feel free to give me a call or an email, Jeannie@HighTechKids. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Jeannie. All right, so doesn't look like we have any questions. But we do have Josh here if anyone has any robot questions. I don't know, Josh, did you want to give any reminders?
Yeah, I can give a few reminders.
Great.
When you are going to judging, make sure that you don't enter the judging room until the judges let you in. The judge will usually invite spectators and family coaches in first so that they can get seated and settled, and then invite the kids in, because once the kids enter the room, they have 5 minutes to set up and do their presentation, and then the judge will ask them questions. Once the judge shuts the door to the judging room, then we would prefer that people do not come in or out. So try to make sure that everybody from your group is together when you show up to judging, and stick around for the entire performance, because the kids always have some really good stuff to say, and it's their time to show us what they've learned and what they've done. When the kids come up to the performance table for robot runs, the first run that they'll do is practice, just for fun. Have them come with questions, have them try stuff. Our refs are really good about talking with them and giving them pointers of, if you did this, you could get a few more points, or have you thought about trying this? So that can be a really good experience. The next 3 rounds are scored. If there are any questions about the scores, ask the ref, come find the head ref as quickly as possible. We'll try to get it resolved and figure things out. Otherwise, worst comes to worst, just remember that it is your best score, your best round that counts. So if the round that got messed up wasn't your best, then it may not be the best to worry about it. When the team does come up to the table, they need to go through inspection. So they'll have to try to fit all of their stuff, the stuff they bring to the table and the stuff that they use, in one of the launch areas, and there's a 12-inch height, 12-inch ceiling. On that, they can take things apart, they can stack things on top of each other, and they can be hanging on to stuff to make it fit. If they can fit into one inspection area, then they'll get bonus points. And if they can't fit into one, then everything that they use must fit into the two inspection area, which are the 2 quarter circles. Anything that doesn't fit within those circles, those quarter circles cannot be used in the match and has to go away. We do not want any electronic devices except for the robot out in the performance area. So no iPads, no tablets, no laptops, anything like that. The robots must perform autonomously. So the kids push the button on the robot and the robot goes out and does stuff. The team does need to split into 2 groups. Once they've passed inspection, they can take whatever parts of their robot or the stuff that they use to either side of the table that it needs to go on, and then the team does need to split into 2. We do not, we can't hand anything from one side of the table to the other. The only way we can get stuff from one side of the table to the other is if the robot takes it over there. And once the kids have chosen a side of the table, they must stay there through the entire 2.5-minute match. Keep in mind that the home area when the robot is coming back is the quarter circle and the black area on either side. So we definitely try to encourage the kids not to touch the robot until it's completely in the home area that it's intended to go into, because if it is outside of the home area and they interact with it, they will lose a precision token. The first precision token is a freebie. So if they just lose one, that's fine. But after that, they cost you. When it comes to the energy units, the refs are always trying to keep track of where the energy units have gone and where they've come from to make sure that the scoring is as accurate as possible. On that, that's about all I can think of.
All right, I think that's great. So I think if there aren't any questions, I think that we are good.
All right. And if anyone comes up with questions, feel free to email us or call us in the office. If I can't answer the question, I will send it off to our head refs and get an official ruling for you. But we want, if you've got questions, it's better to ask them beforehand than getting to the tournament and finding out, whoops, we can't do that. So, or any questions about judging.
All right. All right. Well, thank you very much. Good luck.
All right. Good night.
Good night.